Hello. So, things have changed since the last stream. A lot. I mean, what I'm holding in my hand has very little in common with anything that we had. Okay? So, this here is a complete rebuild of the last version. Like, there's basically nothing except the gear layout here that's the same than before. So, obviously, we have the MacPherson setup. But the setup itself has changed a lot. I mean, a lot. So, I have been watching some suspensions of contemporary, not contemporary, of current rally cars. So, and I noticed that all of them have the spring mounted in this fashion here. So, in the front of this. Uh, like, I mean, very interesting. Um, the camber, the caster angle, of course, is not the same as the angle of this, of course. It's much less. This is just the angle of the strut. So the actual caster angle is something like this. See? It's much less. Uh, so the caster is pretty good. Um, just a second. Um, right. So, um, I have made, of course, the whole thing here. It's very light. It's so much lighter than whatever we had before. I mean, there's hardly any parts here. We really went full efficiency here. So, uh, let me walk you through this, and then the task for today is to make the rear suspension, because we, as soon as possible, we want, of course, a rolling chassis so we can start building the bodywork. So when I finally cough up the money for the Buies stuff, which, if anybody is following the Discord, will see that it's, it's not not cheap, but we'll try to get a deal. Okay. Um, so let's first go through this setup here, and then we can move to the rear suspension. So we are now using those wheels, of course, and those wheels give us more freedom, of course, to design a suspension that is kind of wider and better. I chose not to use the differential in the side configuration, which I could, but I didn't, because there's reasons. One of those reasons is that, see, these the hubs here have to move in and out. And the problem is that if I used the conventional setup, so the differential turned sideways with another set of these here on this side, you know, the gears slip out of the differential extremely easy, you know, because only one of those 10 gears is holding the axle in, and you know the area where it grips the axle is very small. And under load and under racing conditions, they are gonna basically slip out of the differential, and the car is not gonna drive anymore. And you know, I just don't want to risk this. And I think the gears here are stronger as well. I mean, this configuration is pretty strong. I don't think this is gonna skip or break. If it does, we'll deal with it later, but I don't think it will. What else? Geometry. Of course, geometry is different because of this here. We are now using only short links because they actually allow for this much more compact setup here in the rear, using much fewer pieces. For this, we had to do some magic with the attachment points, but this is very strong. The only thing that you see here, this is the slack inside of those ball joints, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's just how it is. It's still acceptable. It's still good. Okay, so we do have, as far as I can see, basically no. We don't have any toe. That's okay. Maybe a little, but you know, thing is that things cannot be very precise anyway because we get so much slack in the wheel hub. So you know, grease will fix this a little bit, you know, because the grease is thick and it's gonna take up some of those some of this slack. So that's gonna be all right. But you know that there's just so much that you can do. But this is fine. You can see that the because the steering axle is not going exactly through the center of the universal of the CV. I mean, in a setup this complex, you know, it's a compromise. But you know, they can slip in and out, and it's a pretty smooth operation. We're gonna see if we can, if we have to limit the travel here a little bit, but we can do that simply by shimming the guide axles with half a stud bushes if we need to, you know. But for now, this is perfectly fine. It's of course also very rigid for what it is, and it's still not finished. So here on top, of course, the requirement of the regulations is that we have to have a steering wheel inside of the cockpit. This is it. No more is needed. I mean, you know, it's not gonna look like this. This is just a placeholder, but that's basically our cockpit. There's gonna be a seat here for the driver, and that's it. As for the upper attachments or basically strut supports, thing is, they are 9 studs high. So from the lowest point of the body up to here, it's 9 studs. But the hood is 8 studs. So we're gonna have a very small indentation on the hood to basically hide those. We'll see. I have some ideas that would maybe allow us here to have these here even lower, so that we would have, like in the real car, we would have basically just suspension strut tower nipples, if we will. So basically, we can what we can do here is to make the geometry perhaps a little bit more favorable. We can angle those here. Use um, three stud lift arms here, and angle them so that basically they point downwards. Attach them here with something, I don't know. So they would basically just go like down here, and there would be no structure here. So we would just be able to have, really just the strut tower tops exposed. We are gonna look into it, but that's not really like a concern right now. So the engine, the motor, of course, is gonna sit here in the front together with the gearbox. It's gonna be like, by my calculation, it's gonna be like this, and then just behind the, in front of the motor is gonna be the grill, and it's gonna be fine. We have to solve a few problems, of course, how we're gonna drive this, but I think we're gonna drive this in a combination with the fake engine. So since the Buick's motor needs to drive the fake engine and directly, of course, and this, we're gonna do something. I don't know. I have to come up with a concept of how to drive this, because the hood is here, and I'm not quite sure how we're gonna drive this gear. That's the main concern here. This here, of course, is optional, so we can get rid of this if we want to or need to. Of course, yeah. So basically, what we can do is have a gear here on the side, driving this or something. I don't know. We'll see. I think Christian and Ben are gonna go wild with CAD stuff here, or I'm just gonna make a copy of this and experiment. Yeah, Buick's motors are available, but the Blue Bricks garbage is not that cheap that I would buy them, because then I cannot attach them to the Buick stuff, and I have just motors for which I have absolutely no use for. So I'm not gonna do that. Right. So of course, this is super strong. It's just what I wanted. Suspension is working. So basically, when the car is jumping and landing, this is gonna be fine. It's really solid. It has weaknesses, of course. If you are really aggressive with it, but I don't think that this is a force that we are gonna experience here. The geometry when steering, of course, is fine. I have tested it. When the car is rolling, the suspension, the wheel stays perfectly flat with the ground. That's excellent. And in the style of this, we are gonna now build the rear suspension. Now the rear suspension is gonna be a lot simpler, and we don't have the height requirements or limitations, because the rear suspension is gonna be inside of the car. So, the rear windows theoretically can be tinted black, and we can build up the whole rear with whatever we like, theoretically. So only here in the front we have skimped on the height and everything. In the rear, there's not going to be a steering. There's not going to be even a multi-link or anything. It's basically gonna be, from what I think we're gonna do, I would like to keep this as simple as possible, of course, and keep my option open if I want to have a passive steering in the rear. So what I will probably want to do here is I will have a similar setup than this, but not quite, of course. We will have those links, but we are not gonna have these links. We are making a setup that has ball joint links, so the six dot links for lateral support, and the longitudinal support is gonna be done with well, probably another 6L link, but in the longitudinal direction. So we're gonna have basically a huge triangle setup here in the rear. Maybe, you know, a third link to prevent steering, of course. So basically, we're gonna have two links to prevent steering and a longitudinal link. That's my idea, because again, looking at rally cars, they have basically, as far as I looked at their suspensions, the rear has this spring just turned around. So basically, if we are watching the rear suspension from the side, it's gonna look similar. Just, you know, this is now the rear of the car, and this is going to the front of the car. That's kind of my idea. Yeah. Well, Flying Fish, anti-roll bar, I don't know. I don't think we're not gonna gain anything from an anti-roll bar. We're just complicating things where they don't need to be complicated. Yeah, that's my idea. You know, we know what the wheelbase has to be. See, and since we know the wheelbase, we can experiment. Of course, I'm gonna build this without a specific place for the links to put on, and then we're gonna put them on, you know, whatever we find, whatever. Anyway, let's start building. So we are first gonna do the core of this in a very similar fashion than the front. I'm gonna skip the gears because they are basically irrelevant. I'm just gonna do the half axles because they are gonna be somewhat relevant because of the geometry. And since we are not gonna expect this suspension to steer, we can allow ourselves some freedoms that we could not allow ourselves when building the front. Because the steering in the front kind of, you know, it demanded some specific approaches. Let's call it like this. But you know, the rear we are gonna build very similar than the front. Well, Ben, that's your that's your opinion. You know, I think everything is possible, and the fake engine, the fake engine can be anything. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be basically flat. There just have to be five something that are moving while the Buick's motor is turning. It can be very small. Um, Regulations don't state it has to look like the real engine. Not at all. It's not gonna look like the real engine. Absolutely not. It can't. That's literally impossible. Ah, what did I use here? Oh, right, an axle. My God, my memory. Like I built this like yesterday and can't remember how I built it. Um, okay. Now let's quickly. Come on. Quickly sneak in some gears. I have absolutely no idea. There are, as far as I know, there are competitors, but I don't think I know them, or I have no idea what they are making. I even have no idea how fast our car actually should go. Maybe what we are building here is gonna be too slow. I don't know. Maybe the competition is gonna make cars that are so much faster than this. I have no idea. Come on. I must have one more. I must have one more of this that I don't have to steal from a car. Really? Surely I must have one more. Yeah, I do. Okay. Phew. Dodge this bullet. There. While I'm here, I can. Yeah, I can put those gears in. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We're not gonna have a differential in the rear for now. Because I don't have one. Simple as that. Basic stuff. Forgot the gear 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And these guys. Come on. Whatever. Great. So, yeah, I should have done this before. Okay. Okay. Yoast. You see, we do have a Discord. The link to the Discord is under each previous stream. So if you go to a stream, you will see in the description of the stream there are links to my various social media, and there's a link to the Discord. So you are welcome to join. Oh, so that kind. You would like me to have like tutoring, live tutoring. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think we are talking enough. You know, there's really no need for live sessions like this, I think. So far, everything that we needed to communicate, we were able to communicate via the Discord with typing, you know. And it's better because you can post pictures, and you know, pictures are much better for conveying ideas because words can describe only so much. If you post a picture, you know, everybody knows a lot much clearer what you wanted to say. So okay, come on, go down. Okay. Okay, so yeah, okay, so our core is done, and of course you see it's very strong because it needs to be. This is the basically the chassis and the gearbox casing, like in a Formula One. So basically, it has to be strong, and I don't want the axles to be affected by everything twisting. So basically, I never built stuff where axles that are part of the gearbox are also part of the structure of this, because that's just puts a lot of stress and wear on the axles themselves. What age did I start with Lego Technic? I think I was 6 years old, something like this. You know, ish, something like this. No, Mr. Morty, it's all right. I mean, the stream is here for interaction like this. You know, that's it. That is perfectly all right to ask questions like this here, if you like it. So now I need two hubs. There, two hubs. Okay. Yes. There, two CVs. Right. These are hybrids. They are soft. They are extremely soft because I put some soft springs into those because my Unimog springs are in the Sierra. So I put four Unimog springs in the Sierra, front and rear. So I made a hybrid from this, whatever. I think those yellow ones are better because they're softer. But we'll see if the car is going to be heavy enough to warrant the Unimog springs. But I hope not, because it has to be light. It has to be a lot lighter than the Sierra. So it would be. I mean, it's a smaller scale and everything. So you know. These springs here are just placeholders. I have those. I have to order the same ones that I use in the front anyway. Space to change ratios. What do you mean ratios? What ratios? What ratios would we like to change? What else do we need? Okay. So this is where it's gonna get a little tricky, because of course we don't need steering in the rear, and at the same time the link that's gonna provide we're gonna have a link that's gonna provide basically, well, triangulation, if you will, to the front, so that it's not gonna be able to move in this direction. But we have to make a better mounting method than this. Yeah, and I think I know how we're gonna do it. Ish. Basically, I don't know. I don't know what the goal is. I have no idea how fast it needs to be, how fast it can be with only two motors. I have no reference. I have never done something like this. I could be lazy like this, but I won't be, because that sucks. First of all, we would have unnecessary weight. We don't need any of this structure here at all. That's just completely unnecessary. And I'm really thinking now, if here in the rear, you know what we're gonna do? We should, and we are gonna use basically A-arms. So we're not gonna use the links. We're gonna use an A-arm because here in the rear we don't care about the steering axis going through the CV. It's not important. So we can have just, you know, one attachment point here. We are gonna engineer a strong base for it here, and then we just have to provide a second link that prevents this from steering, and it's gonna attach somewhere here. The two motors at 12 volts should get to 20 kilometers easy enough with right gearing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how fast other cars like this are, but I mean, 20 kilometers per hour at this scale, it's a lot. You know, that's quite a lot. So if we achieve that, that's gonna be perfect. But yeah, you know, I sincerely hope that the geometry that we have here is gonna allow us to go full speed without constantly having to, you know, adjust the steering, because the geometry that we have here, the higher the speed, the more it's gonna show itself. So at higher speeds, cars without proper suspension geometry should have more trouble going straight without driver correction. So we'll see, you know, we'll see. I always say we'll see because it's, for me, it's unknown territory. You know, I never had a car that went that fast. I never had a fully remote controlled Lego car, you know, with everything. So it's like completely unknown new territory for me. And I'm learning just like you. Right. Yeah. What I wanted to see is how to approach the wheel hub. Yeah. If we do a reverse of this, to have a ball joint here for the trailing stuff, might not be that advantageous, actually. If we had it here, thing is that we have to do this different anyway. Thing is that if we want a link that is basically providing pulling or stopping power to this, we have to go with a setup like this, because this way, when the wheel lands or does whatever it wants, and we have the steering, the link here in the longitudinal way, it cannot detach. But if we have something like this, for example, yes, it's strong, but only until the first jump, and then, you know, forces are gonna start pulling it apart. It's not such a big deal in the front because we have triangulation. Here we're gonna go with a different, more I don't know if it's more efficient, but a simpler setup. So we will definitely use this here in the lower part, I'm thinking of how to replicate this here. No, this has to be here. This I don't see how to do this. To be honest, I don't see how to do this. So we have to rethink a little bit. So let's imagine for a moment that we may go with just a single. Yes, okay. Yeah, no. Maybe like this. Maybe like this. Maybe like this. But then still the same problem remains. How to fix the strut. So theoretically, we would have something like this. No, strut, and then an axle here that's blocking it from going down, but only theoretically, because this is not something we can do. Actually, this is not doable because of the rim here. The rim requires a very specific geometry. So we have a total width of 5 studs, but only at a height of 3 studs in the middle. So we can have a 3 times 5 section here, and then if you turn it 90 degree, another 3 times 5. But nothing can be here in the edges, and nothing can be beyond this. Otherwise, it hits the rim. So they are captive. I don't know what you mean by captive. However, of course, now that I said the things that I said, I have to take all of them back, because I was missing half a stud. So this is now closer, and then everything is solved. Of course. It's so simple. It's just me complicating simple things in my head. It's so simple. Come on, think. What are you missing? So the key here is that this here, we don't have to care about this having to turn. That's irrelevant. It is completely irrelevant because it's not gonna have steering. So if it's not gonna have steering, just a second. No, there, I'm still missing something. Still missing something. I'm gonna show you what I had in mind. Some of you probably got it anyway. So I wanted to do this together with this, like this. Problem is, we are half a stud over the limit. So this is not gonna go. Yeah. Back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board. Because this is exactly too much, half a stud too much, it's gonna hit the rim. Yep, absolutely, it's gonna hit the rim. If we could have this smaller, that we would have this here, and then this, and then of course this guy would be in here, and then it would be supported by an axle coming through here, and this would be then fine. But this way it's not. We cannot go lower, and if we use this, it's gonna disqualify it outright. So only thing that we can do is use exactly the same system as we used in the front. Which, for reasons that I described before, is not my favorite. Not at all. Exactly for the reasons I stated. Let's see. Let's take a look at this again. So, the original Audi, of course, has a similar system. So, why does this work in the front and not in the rear? So, obviously, when the car is gonna pull like this when it's accelerating, but when we are braking, for example, you see the brake force is coming here. Here, in this case, it's able to brace itself here. Okay, so that's not a problem. See, this guy here gets braced and it can go nowhere. But if we now turn this around and say that this is the rear of the car, and we are driving in this direction, then when we are braking, it's gonna be pulled. So the force is coming from here, and my problem, I'm not really happy with this, but it can be changed in the front, but we can maybe do something in the rear, is that this guy here sits on an axle, and since it sits on an axle, the axle can be pulled out. So basically you can slide the connectors on the axle, and that's not ideal. Not ideal. That's why I would like something else here. But I don't think I'm gonna be allowed to do this. I think we are actually gonna have to go with a setup like this, with this, but without any of this here. So almost a carbon copy of this, and we have to, because this doesn't have is not gonna steer, we are basically, yeah, I don't know, I'm not happy with this. I would like something more fixed in the rear. Something that really doesn't steer. Um, maybe. Maybe. If we would make a super beefy A-arm here, that would basically sit in this point, and then we would just create another attachment point for a ball joint somewhere here, and would make a fixed link to somewhere here. That would go. I would be happy with that. Um, so this would be omitted, of course. That would be unnecessary. We would have just a link here in the at the bottom, and that would be it. Yeah, we are gonna go with this solution for now, and let's see, literally see what we can do. I just hope that the angle of this ball joint is gonna be okay, but if not, we can angle this a little bit less, and it's gonna be fine, I think. Yeah, if we angle this a little bit less, basically if we move this one stud further back to decrease the extreme angle of this, because we don't need caster in the rear. Or I mean, it can be basically neutral-ish, you know, but since if it's like this, I think that, I don't know, the spring is not gonna work as good as it does. Yeah, we can probably move this to the front, maybe even by 2 studs. Maybe even by 2 studs. What if we move this to the front by 2 studs? I'm not gonna experiment on this. Let's recreate the exact same setup here, and then we can play. On one side, of course, just. Up. Yeah. A bushing disappeared from this universe. Maybe I'll find it later. Okay, so let's do what's this? The driver's side. Yeah, let's do the driver's side. We are gonna complicate it just a smidge. Yeah, but I have to be careful with this because the angle, you see, the angle allows us for this to be sitting lower. But if we go full, then this cannot be. We'll see. We'll see. That's an idea. Yeah, that's an idea. We could do this. Not sure if it's necessary. We could do it. We could do it. Okay. Very simple. You know. Now we have options here, I guess. I mean, see, it can be pulled apart. It's not even that difficult. For the second time. Okay. Really? Really? For the third time. There. Okay, now I'm happy. Now I'm happy. See, if this was on the inside, yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe it would be fine. Okay. So, but we don't need the steering action. We don't need that. What we do need is, I think, yeah, we can only have this guy here and this guy here. Otherwise, you know, the rim is gonna hit this. So, but this shouldn't be a problem. Now I'm not sure which link we are gonna use. So we could go with this. Yeah, it's just if this was one stud straighter, this would be much easier. Yeah, you see, this here is kind of binding just. Okay, yeah. So definitely we are gonna have much less caster here in the rear, so we have to rebuild this a little bit, you know. So this has to go one stud further to the front. How do we rebuild this? By using as few bricks as possible. So these are not gonna be here, that I'm sure. One stud further to the front, we said, but they have to be same height. Same height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. this could go. Testing purposes only, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, ish. For testing purposes, it's good enough. So now the angle is much less extreme, which should allow us to mount the lower suspension link much better. Yeah. Let's see where it lands. Yeah, that's under much less stress than it was before. Since it's a 6 link, 6L, should be here. Yeah, should be here. Wait. Come on. I still want this shaft here to be as straight as possible. And we have to be... yeah, here. Here. That's gonna be fine, I think. Yeah, this guy has to be mounted the other way around, and it's gonna be mounted here. There. Yeah. So they are as far apart as possible, and it's gonna be good. And the way I see this here, I think it should be more like this. More like this. Let's see. This is too wide. It has to be. Yeah, it's too wide. Why is it too wide? What am I doing wrong? This is 6. This is half. It's half a stud. This distance here is half a stud too much. Needs to be half a stud closer. This guy, of course, is gonna be solid because we're gonna mount it here somehow. Yeah, somehow. And we need another something here. This shouldn't be a problem. The distance here is a problem. Yeah. I don't want half a stud. How and why? Okay. I know why. Okay, I know why. I know why. Yeah, that's why. Okay. There's nothing to steal here, so, you know, it's just an address. Now you can find me on Google Maps. Great. Yeah, this needs more angle. This is not angled enough. That's why this is a problem. And if we have angle, it has to be here or there. Yeah, there. Okay, let's try approach number 1. So what I wanted to do in the first place, just for me to see what's happening. I mean, you're joking, but there literally was a guy that got his Lego stolen, but that was in the US, I think. Yeah. About that, let's see what this is. It's gonna be tight. See, because of this angle here. Damn it. Damn it. So we would still then use these guys in the same manner as I'm using them there, because that's literally the best way. But since we are now angling this a little bit differently, we'll see what we do here. Yeah. Okay, I would like it to be here. Huh, but okay. But now, yeah. I mean, yeah. Why I'm not copying the front? Because I don't want steering in the rear. But yeah, you're right. You're right. The front actually is very strong, and we're just losing time by 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 philosophizing, and in the end, it's gonna be, you know, in the end, we're gonna go back to the front. Yeah, you're right. Oh well, I tried. I tried. I had to try it. Yeah, we'll we'll do something like that. Yeah, we'll do something like that. But yeah, I mean, the basic stuff is this. Yeah, this is still very good. So we are here. I'm trying to reinvent hot water. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay. Mm, come on. Mhm. Mm. Um, what I wanted to do right now. Oh, of course. Okay. This looks alright. Now we just have to prevent it from steering. I mean, yeah, Ben. How do we then attach the wheel? Can we attach the wheel then? Let's see. If we do what you suggest, like this, is it still possible to mount the wheel without it? Yeah, barely. It's depends on this. Yeah, it works. It just scratches. It scratches here on the rim, tiny little bit, tiny little bit. It's okay. It's okay. It scratches just a little bit. I think it's fine. We cannot move it further out. We can, and another problem. I think another problem that we're gonna have is, yeah, this is gonna be another problem. This is another problem. So it cannot be as far as in front. It has to be here. And even here, I'm kind of skeptical about this. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can have it here in the front. Why not? Come on. But then I would still turn it around like this if I can. No, I can't. It has to be here. And it has to be here. I think. Yeah, this. And even like this, I have my doubts about this because, see, this suddenly acts as a lever and the ball joint wants to pop out. So that's not okay. So the setup has to be literally the same as in the rear, and as in the front. So literally the same. And yeah, so even this genius contraption here needs to go. Yeah, when I had had that idea, but the problem is space. I think. Come on. Oh, okay. I mean, maybe, but it's not gonna be very stiff. See, even if I replace this guy here, I replace this guy, this. Okay, we'll forget about the CV joint at the moment. The problem is I cannot make it work because this guy here cannot rotate enough to be parallel with anything here. Come on. Okay. So this here works. This here works. Now we have to just prevent it from swinging. Easier said than done. But I think we are probably gonna make some sort of steering link, and we're gonna mount it here, I guess, in the same plane as this, but here one stud closer in, and that's gonna be fine. Yeah, let's try this. Let's try this. So. I would literally want to go with something that's mounted here. Mm-hmm. So let's see. It has to be like here, and then we would have, you know, a beautiful Formula One like triangulation. See, we have the triangle, and then this guy here is gonna connect to something here. only that it has to be one step further in. Not here, it has to be one step further in. It has to point like downwards. Otherwise, it's not never gonna work. Because it's not gonna clear this. And even here, it's gonna be challenging, to say the least. So it has to go at least to the level of this. That's not gonna be fun. That's not gonna be fun. You know, when you thought that this is gonna be easy. I mean, literally, the easiest way for us to go here would be the following. So we would say, okay, where does the A arm have to be? So one stud further back here, it has to be angled. We make a very strong foundation for it. So, you know, it has to be angled here, so it can, under extreme angles, it can disappear in here. Probably not this, for a simple reason, because we cannot, if we do it like this, see, and it's going like this, we have no way of preventing this here from detaching. So we will go with this. We will go with this, and then we are going to match and attach those ball joints and everything according to this. So it has to be mounted in this plane. And let's go from here. So this guy here. Then we have this. For example, I'm just thinking out loud, and we'll see where it leads us. And I guess we are gonna have another one here. Sorry. I'm seeing the errors in my ways. Okay, you cannot be there either. Okay, then this is fine. Okay, this is stronger than I thought. Yeah. This is pretty good. Will you please? Thank you. So let's see where this leads us. Yeah. That's not good. That's better, but we have no way of attaching this because this guy is not moving. So we actually do have to go back to the proposal I did of having this guy here be less steep, because the problem here is the angle. See, this angle here, if we would reduce this angle, then it would be good. Then this guy would have a chance of popping in here. Right now, this is problematic. Just let me check something. Is my computer running too hot? Maybe. Yeah. So we actually do have to move this a little bit to this side because it actually is too steep. It is too steep. Yeah. But let's do it in a way that's a bit quicker than before. Let's use the same mounting point here and just move it over. Okay. Come on. Okay. Okay, this is just temporary. So. Okay, so this doesn't have to move, so this is not a problem. And this is it in the extreme position. And this is actually fine. See, the angle is much less. And I don't think this is gonna pop out. Don't think so. Okay, so this is not moving. And now we have to find a way to just prevent this from happening. This is gonna be, well, interesting, but you know, now we can do basically the steering stuff, and we just have a fixed steering link here attached to the body. Should be fine. And of course, you see, we do have the option to have suspension induced bump steer. So because this angle is now fixed, we have some scope. You know, this is irrelevant movement. We have some for the CV. We have some scope for some magic if needed. Yeah, I like this. I like this. Yeah, only thing we have to do now is create a steering link that's clearing the wheel and is probably being able to be attachable here. That would be the simplest way. But if it's attachable here, it's not gonna clear the wheel. So we have to go deeper. Some brake magic. If we go deeper, we can go deeper here. But if we go here, we have no way of attaching this anywhere without popping up. This would be a good position. This would be a good position regardless. I could do this. But not with this. Oh, right. Yeah, no, we can't do exactly this because the wheel is here. I forgot. The wheel, of course. The wheel is gonna break this setup. Just a second. Let me collect my thoughts. So we can go one stud further in and then one stud out. Or maybe two studs out, but one stud probably. Here. Okay. Let's try this. Just as a thought experiment. What I'm gonna do now is maybe a bit risky in the grand scheme of things, but maybe this is okay. So this would work. Yeah. We can go the full length. That can be perfectly acceptable. So this is gonna clear the wheel. Yep, clears the wheel. And now we have to find a mounting point for it, which is not gonna be that easy. Because on this side, this is not okay. If it was half a stud closer, like this, that would be okay. If we had them both here, no, like that on the upper side. The only problem is we have a gear in the way on this side. So this would be, yeah, this would be super strong. But we have a gear in the way. What about bump steer? Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay. That's a bummer. I guess we can have it here in front, so we don't have this for the moment. And we first design the attachment points for this. Yeah, like here. What I'm gonna do now is oddly familiar. This is gonna be perfect. Let's see. So, what does the toad say? Well, the toad says I'm in, which is not okay. Wow, that gain. Okay, that's not okay. So if we move this one stud further up, and this one stud, half a stud further out, this should, yeah, this should be the ticket. So let's do this. So like this, and I'm gonna just quick and dirty. I'm gonna use this. As a substitute. Okay. Oh, that looks perfect. Almost. Bon appetit. Or we have some movement that I'm not fully on board with. There's no noticeable. I think there's no noticeable. Maybe a little bit of bump steer, but you know, a little bit of bump steer in the rear is not a problem. I mean, it's fine. If this angle was less, I would be happier. But, you know, yeah, when it's at right height, it's better. It's too far away from the wheel for my taste. But what can you do? It'll be fine. Ah, okay, has to be like this. Half a bush goes in here, because if I push this too far, it's gonna scrape on the wheel. Okay, we have a problem. Why do we have a problem? What's happening here? It's going a little bit rough. Why is it going a little bit rough? Are you? No, you're not. Everything here is free. Oh, I don't know what it was. Okay, it's fine. So this is okay. No. So we have moved it a little bit, 2 studs further. If we compare, this is the front suspension and this is the rear suspension. Looking, so this is going to be the rear, and that's the front. The angle here is, of course, a lot less because we don't need steering. And on the bottom, if we take a look, of course, we have here an A-arm that doesn't allow movement, and a steering link. And that's, I think that's what we have to live with. And here in the rear, what can we do here? That's incompatible. Okay, we can do that. Still incompatible. Okay. I mean, with this setup, specific setup, we have a problem connecting this and having a joint here. So that's not ideal at all. Not ideal at all. But this cannot be any further in because of the gear here. So what do we do? We could have this guy here at the bottom, of course, but how do we do something with this? That's the question. We need a connection here. Does this work with this? Good question. wonder. Can we do something like this in the front as well? We'll see. We'll see. This, I love this. First things first. Okay. How do I reconcile this? If it's reconcilable. That's not good. That's not good. That's not okay. Oh, and we get bump steer. Why do we now get bump steer and it's in the same location? Or what did I miss? Oh no, we have to move this upwards, I think. Yeah, this has to move as well. Okay, okay, that's good, right? So how do we move this upwards? We attach it to this. Exactly. We attach it to this. We need to change this. Anyway, we can omit this entirely. I mean, not entirely, but we can omit this. This goes in. And this goes in. And this goes in, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Now we put in this. I think, yeah. Oh. Okay. I fucked up. No, that's not how it should be. It should be this here. And then we have these. Of course. Simplest solution is usually the best solution. Okay. Come on. There. It has a slight bump steer to the outside. So if this goes to the outside when bump steering, what does this mean? This means exactly what we want. So basically, when the car is this is the front of the car, of course. When the car is cornering and the car leans on the inside wheel, this guy here increases its angle. So see, it goes slightly to the outside. This part here moves slightly to this side, and on the rear suspension in cornering, this means that the rear is gonna be a little bit lively, and it's gonna aid in steering. So basically, we're gonna get a tighter turning circle, which is basically what I had in mind, to be honest. You know, for because the steering angles on this on these joints here are really poor. Yeah, I mean the usable angles. You know, the usable angles, because yes, we have you see here quite a lot of movement, but you know, but the actual usable angles are less, because you see at this angles, I think, but no, it's okay. Yeah, this is the maximum angle, because then the gears here, the CV starts, the ridges of the CV start bumping against the housing, and we get like, what's the word for this? The wheel starts stuttering, which you don't want. But yeah, I mean, those angles are okay, I guess. And then aided by a slight bump steer in the rear, it's gonna be fine. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. So now this guy here needs to be joined to this. Let's see what the distance is. So this is, no, we don't get a rolling chassis today, because the stream is over in a few minutes. Okay, so this is basically the center for the front, and in the rear, this is like here. So this means that the center section is too large. You can here start appreciating how small the car actually is. So that's the rear suspension. Okay, that's the front. Here's gonna be the driver's seat, and we are already at the rear suspension. So that's how small it is. Tiny little car. Tiny little car. It's gonna be. So we have to, you know, we have to marry the rear part here to the front. Somehow, the way we have it set up now, it's not gonna work. So we have to find another way to do this, I guess, in order for us to be able to marry this to this, because this frame here is pretty crucial for weight saving, because it's gonna be basically the whole floor, and then we're gonna have to, you know, the roll hoop on the roof is gonna be part of the structure, then the part here around the firewall, and then the A pillars. That's gonna be it. I mean, it's a light car, and of course the backbone. We're gonna have a central backbone in the car as well to combine the two sections. Um, and you know, we have to keep everything to a minimum. So once we have the chassis working, there's going to be motors and the exterior, as little as possible, and the exterior is going to be as minimalistic as possible. I mean, what Christian did on the renders, that's basically it. No, as little extra structure as possible, and the exterior is going to be the heaviest part of the car, but it has to be there. So in the next stream, so tomorrow basically, we are solving this. We need to attach this to the body. I'm gonna we're gonna replicate the this part on the other side, and yeah, once we have done this, we have a rolling chassis, and this is gonna be tomorrow. And it would be, I think it would be cool if we would then make a dummy motor, you know, size-wise, so that we know how big it is, to offer it to the car and to start developing the gearbox or gearboxes. The gearboxes. The only thing I'm afraid of is that maybe in the rear, the gearbox and the engine is maybe gonna be here, so inside. So we would basically then move the steering link to the other side, and this side will be the side where we mount the gearbox and the motor. You know, this is to be decided. Who is messaging me on Discord? Oh, right. So Orbitus, no, instructions, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. Probably. There's some illegal building techniques here, so no modified parts, but illegal building techniques, because parts are under tension, and I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So until tomorrow, I think the decision has to be made if we have the gearbox in the rear, gearbox and engine here in the front, or if we have it in the rear. I mean, space-wise, I don't know, but maybe we should develop the gearbox first and see how big it is, and then see if it's gonna be in the front or in the back. Yeah. My goal is, of course, to have the, you know, everything here to be relatively quickly removable, especially the motors, and the Buiz unit has to be housed somewhere as well. So preferably on the passenger side, it would be on the passenger side. Then you could, you know, plug everything in. It's smaller than this, so don't worry. It's like this long, so 2 studs shorter, and it should fit in here just fine, I think. If not, we can, I don't know, place it in behind here. There should be enough room. But it's a heavy part, so I would like to have it in the middle here, as low as possible. So maybe we could mount it from the bottom, and it would be here in the center. To be determined. I don't know exactly how big it is. So any decisions regarding this must be done when I get it. And the motors and the gearbox and the Wheelbase unit, I'm just on the cusp of ordering them, and since they're arriving from Slovenia, they're gonna be here in a few days. So we're probably gonna be able to play with them soon. I don't know that I need a passenger seat. Yeah, so what? The requirements doesn't say I have to have a passenger seat. I just have to have a driver's seat. That's regulations. Read them carefully. If it's not specifically said, then it's not defined. So, yeah. So, that's it for today. We are here again tomorrow, same time. And yeah, tomorrow we are gonna make a rolling chassis with replacement or dummy wheels, of course. I'm not gonna use this for the rolling chassis, but probably some other wheels that fit here on this, but we'll see. I don't know. Have to read them again, but there's gonna be, if we do this, there's gonna be very little room for anything. We'll see. We'll see. I have to think about it. Now, now that I have everything here in front of me, I don't know. I mean, even with the steering here, we have room. We could move the steering rack entirely one stud further forward. Then we would gain a stud here. There's a lot of things to be considered here. It's not simple. It's not a simple matter here. But yeah, tomorrow, and on Discord, of course. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and I see you tomorrow.